Yes, yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the confirmation. So yeah, so if everything goes good in the demo today, we will talk for the couple of more months, and we will actually learn this agentic AI together. And let's see. And and I'm an Azure guy. I'll mostly go with Azure. And some of these things in the PPT may be looking outdated. I try to update as much as possible, but may still look outdated. But we will course correct along with our session. Okay, we'll course correct that along with our session. I'm an Azure guy, so I'll mostly take out things in the Azure format. And I'm working as a lead software engineer into some of a very renowned organization. It's like a top four banks in the US. And I've got a 13 plus years of experience into software development and engineering, and I've led a lot of projects till now. And I've been a part of a lot of ML initiatives. And I used to have a startup where I worked along with Microsoft for my startup. And I've traveled throughout India to actually deliver sessions, talk to a lot of students, interact with people, understand their problem statements, and understand how to fix those problem statements. Conduct a super hackathons for that same reason. Like I was into incubation of startups and all. So, and this is one of my passion to talk to people, and I've been trying to convert that in this particular way again back. So and I've worked on a lot of domains actually. I worked on regular application development, followed by IIoT domain, industrial IoT domain, where we deal with a lot of data integrations, data flows, data lineage, all these things. And from there, developing models for predictions using deep learning, normal machine learning models, all that stuff. And I've got a good amount of experience into .NET, which can be like C Sharp and Python and Golang and Golang used for hardware. I mean the applications that stay closer to hardware. I use Golang to develop those applications where we used it in IoT, industrial IoT based applications basically. And I have good amount of experience into cloud and DevOps of Azure. Uh, and I've done my PGD from IIIT Bangalore for machine learning and artificial intelligence engineering a couple of years ago. And yeah, that's mostly about me. Do you want to know anything about me more? Maybe you can unmute and ask, or else I will go ahead. Yes, no. Okay, I take that as no, and I'm going ahead. So building AML applications on Azure AI Foundry. Okay. So what is the reason behind choosing Azure AI Foundry? What can be the reason here for choosing Azure AI Foundry? Yes, I have heard there are a couple of people with good amount of DevOps experience. Maybe you can probably unmute and you can ask or answer this question maybe. Okay, prefer not to answer. All right. Yeah. So building AML applications, you can take these AML applications as an agentic solutions as well. So what does Azure AI give us, and what does Azure AI Foundry give us? Okay, Azure AI gives us hosting the models capability, and Azure AI Foundry gives us some hosting LLM kind of capabilities. We do not really host an LLM, but we can consume the LLM present over there. Okay, and Azure AI Foundry is a combination of two things: CSP and then MSP. What does the CSP stand for, and what does this MSP stand for? Yes.
Yeah, so I think MSP stands for a Model Context Protocol.
What does MCP stand for? I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. No,
Microsoft
sorry. That's
Professional.
MCP.
That
Yeah,
is
Great can you actually unmute it.
Microsoft Professional.
Sorry, Microsoft. Yes, it's
The
good in
Microsoft Professional is
sorry, I lost. Sorry.
practitioner. Like
Microsoft.
AWS practitioner certification.
No. It's good that you guys are actually unmuting and making this session interactive. I'm glad about it. See, CSP stands for Cloud Service Provider, and MSP stands for Model Service Provider. Okay, they not be a very renowned technical terms in the market, but yeah, they stands for that. And why CSP? Azure is giving us a lot of options for us to build and deploy our applications. Okay, this is done by Amazon also. This is done by other cloud providers like GCP or OCP, OpenShift platform basically. So yeah, Azure is giving us some kind of renowned easy process to do that. So that's the reason I've taken Microsoft Azure, and I'm an Azure guy. I've already told you. So Azure is giving us the power of cloud computing here, and followed by it is well integrated with Azure AI Foundry, which is a model service provider. What is the model here? It is an LLM. I'm referring this to an LLM. Okay, and here you just need not talk about LLM. You can talk about the traditional models like TensorFlow models, PyTorch models. Okay, and your machine learning models like using scikit-learn, whatever it is basically. You can deploy those models as well, and you can deploy your regular cloud applications as well, and you can use the integration already present here. Okay, you can use the integration already present here. Okay, so this way we can use Azure AI Foundry with the power of normal cloud service provider together and build and deploy our applications. Build, deploy our applications here. Any questions here? Any questions? Yes. Okay. All right. So what can we expect? This is what something that we are speaking about. Okay, from Azure AI Foundry, we have a cloud service integrated here. Okay, we have a cloud service integrated here where we have infrastructure as the infrastructure being provided to us. So it can be your storage, it can be your virtual machines, it can be a server and serverless computing. I hope some of the people here understand what is meant by server and serverless computing. Okay, like the function apps are serverless, whereas web apps are servered. Okay, don't bother if others like from the pharmacy background and all don't understand the server and serverless. Don't really bother about it at this point. They are basically running on servers with shared infrastructure. And what is a server? Anything that you want to host. You want to host a website, for example. You need some space because you want to load your web pages onto that particular space. You need a database. Okay, you need a database, and the database is to actually store and retrieve all your data. Okay, we'll need a database over there, and we will need a web address. Okay, you will need to show the UI. Okay, so that you'll need the web address. So the web address is provided by something called as DNS, which is integrated inside Azure. Okay, so all these things, which is termed to be under infrastructure, is provided by Azure, which is a cloud service provider here. Okay, you can go with the normal IP address. I don't want to get into the details of that part, but yes, Azure provides the cloud service things where you can have all your infrastructure present there. All your infrastructure present there. And apart from that, we have something called as AI Foundry there. Okay, and this has been turned into Microsoft Foundry right now, but it's predominantly Azure AI Foundry or Microsoft Foundry. Okay, so in this Azure AI Foundry or the Microsoft Foundry, it provides it acts as a model hub for us. How many of you heard about Hugging Face? Yes? No one? All right. So let's leave Hugging Face a little away. So it has a model hub. So the best example is your App Store or the Play Store. You want to edit pictures on your phone. Okay. What kind of applications that you look for? Yes.
Like application name you're asking, or what kind of
application name? Yes.
Yeah, Canva is there, Adobe is there.
For editing pictures on your phone.
Phone.
Nano Banana you can use, right?
Nano Banana. Yeah, correct.
Okay, you are looking at Nano Banana, wonderful. But generally, to do one task, okay, not just Nano Banana, you have a number of tools again, right? A number of tools. I can go to something like very bad question because I don't really edit pictures. I use Google Photos most of the cases to edit my pictures mostly. That's done. And yeah, for one single task, you go to a Play Store and you identify the required, application to edit your pictures just in a simple way. The same way to complete your task, you will go to the something called as a model hub or your Azure AI Foundry. Identify the required model that you want. You'll go identify the required model that you want. You want to book movie tickets. What kind of application that you use here? Yes.
Book my show.
My show.
Book my show. What else? Only one monopoly?
District Zomato district.
District by Zomato?
Hmm.
You have two, nothing else, that's all?
Just tickets also there.
Okay, I don't know that. I saw only this and this because I've seen this recently only.
I think
Yeah,
in
so we
Paytm
have two
also.
applications here. Now, where will you go to actually book? You have two applications known, maybe or three applications known. Where will you go and book? What is the first thing that comes into your mind when you're trying to book a movie ticket?
For my show only.
Sorry?
Book my show only. First things come in my mind.
Okay, book my show is the first thing because that was monopolized for so long, like almost 10-15 years now. Anything else? Do you look for offers? Do you look for credit card offers? Yes, no? You look for reducing your movie ticket cost. Do you look for that? Reducing your movie ticket cost? You have credit cards with 1+1 offers and all these. Don't you look for that? Because I look for that. Okay, I look for that basically. So I want to get my cost at or the ticket cost at the best possible price. So I skim through applications. I go to Paytm or I go to Book My Show or I go to District app. Look for the movie that I want. Following that, I'll go open the payment section to understand which credit card supports offers and give me the best price, the lowest price. Don't we all do that? I do it. Okay, so then I will get my ticket booked. So I'm choosing one application with respect to some criteria here. Okay, with respect to some kind of criteria here. The criteria here is it should be at the cheaper cost. Now here as well, you can also look for one model where you can understand the cost of the model. Okay, you understand the cost of the model plus the result it gives. Okay, the result it gives. Okay, so there are a lot of settings inside these particular models, or before while you're using your models, there is something like temperature, tokens, other parameters as well. Okay, so you modify these particular parameters from a model to give you the best output, and those experimentations can be done by something called as this playground. Okay, I hope you guys can see my screen, the annotation that I'm doing. There is something called as playground. You can use this playground to do or verify those stuff for your optimized output. So you can go to something called as Azure AI Foundry, experiment on different models out there, using different settings available with the models. Understand? So, for example, you want to use something like video editing. You want to create a video editing tool, AI-based video editing tool. Now, you explore the models about which actually gives you a video editing capability. Or you want to go with photo editing. Okay, you will go and check what are the models that are available to do your photo editing, which supports photo editing. No, you are a writer, for example. You want to write some content for your website. Now you will go for something like a text generation models, a chart completion models. Okay, you want to store your data somewhere. Okay, you want to store your data in a contextual way. I hope you understand the concept of context. Okay, you find out the meaning and then store the data in a meaningful format, not just the word directly. You provide a lot of context so the model understands your context. Okay, so those contextually you'll go and use something called as embedding models. So all these things you can go and experiment on these particular playgrounds and understand what is the capability of that particular model. Then choose your correct model and then build a solution around it and deploy your application. Okay, so this way we have Azure Foundry, Azure AI Foundry, or the Microsoft Foundry supporting playground where you can go experiment with models and understand if the output is like related to us or not, and then go ahead actually. Okay, this way you choose different models here. You have a number of models. It shows a portal for you today. Okay, and we can build AML based applications. You can also deploy traditional machine learning applications here. Okay, you can also build a scikit-learn application, or sorry, a model using scikit-learn, or a model using TensorFlow, or a model using PyTorch. All these things you can develop, deploy over there, and consume it back into your applications. So this is something, and you can fine tune your applications here. What is this fine tuning? What is this fine tuning? Yes, anybody understand the word called fine tuning? I've heard some agentic examples being done already in your regular day-to-day life. You know
So
about fine tuning? Yes.
maybe it is like when I worked on the OpenAI integration, so fine tune was that. So maybe it is increasing the accuracy and reasoning, anything kind of. I'm not sure.
Yes, it's like half of the answer. Thank you so much. So it increases something called as accuracy, definitely. Yes. Okay. But what exactly do we do with the fine tuning? You go and open ChatGPT or Claude and give some question to that particular ChatGPT or Claude. Will that respond?
Yes, it
Yeah,
will respond.
yeah, it respond.
It will respond, right? So, for example, let us take it in this particular format. You opened a new restaurant today itself. For example, you opened a new restaurant today itself. Okay, and you named it as Agentic Food Restaurant. You named that restaurant as Agentic Food Restaurant. Okay, your theme of your restaurant is an agentic theme, for example. Okay, now you have your menu, but you want people to go and search for a dish using a chatbot. You want people to search for a dish using your chatbot. Okay, you can ask a question like, what kind of dish you want? Okay, veg, non-veg. Okay, and it goes on. The questions goes on so that you will show the recommendations to the people. And you want this to be an agentic solution, okay, or a generative AI based solution. You have integrated your ChatGPT in the background. You can integrate ChatGPT. ChatGPT in the sense like your models from OpenAI, for example. Okay, so you have integrated those models. Now, where will your questions come from, and where will your answers be read through? When you integrate a normal ChatGPT kind of model there, what will happen here? Your questions will come from the whole repository of food chains available in the world. Okay, someone will ask for a Thai food which your chef is not able to make. Then what will you do? Again, blank. So your question should come from a definitive document, not from the whole world real scenario. You should confine your responses, your menu, to a list of data which is already present with the LLM. Okay, you cannot expect the LLM to answer using a generic data that is available outside the world. Sometimes you should confine yourself to something. Let me take this example in a different way.
That should be called as memory, I think.
Yes, it is memory. It is memory management, but you should fine tune your model using that memory so that your applications will answer from there and that particular concept is called your RAG, and fine tuning is like little beyond RAG. We'll talk about it in detail in the sessions. Okay, so I'll talk about RAG in a while, don't worry. So when you were given with an for example, let me take another example. You go to your office system. On the Teams, you may have your company chatbot, and you ask some question. Is it a holiday on May 1st? You ask a question simply like, is it a holiday on May 1st? Then what will that particular chatbot answer? There can be two possible options. Can anyone explain those two possible options? Yes. Can someone explain those two possible options? There can be more, but at least I'm looking for two.
One thing would be if the policy documents, all the RAG-based application and the policy documents are embedded there. So it would retrieve the information with respect to the company. And if it is not there, if it is properly guardrailed, then I do not have the information, something like that.
Yes, definitely. This is a really, really great answer. I'll probably, add more stuff over here. Okay. See, when you go to normal ChatGPT and ask, is it a holiday on May 1st? Okay, I'm talking about an open world scenario, okay, where it is trying to analyze, is it really a holiday? Okay, now the answer would be yes, in India, May 1st is a holiday. Okay, maybe if that ChatGPT is pointing out to some US kind of data, it will may say like, no, it is not a holiday. Okay, depends on your location, because geopolitically, India is having a holiday on May 1st. Now, if you're doing the same thing in a Teams chatbot where your company's data is provided, your company's leave policy, holiday policy is provided to that. Okay, maybe HR chatbot. It may go and skim through your policy documents and tell like it is a holiday since it is recognized as a World Labor Day or something, and it will give you a holiday. Okay, or if it is not, like if your company is not listing May 1st as a holiday, then it may tell like it is not listed as a holiday on your calendar or on your holiday data. It will precisely point out to some kind of information. Now, this LLM is trained on to answer from a specific amount of data. Now, I have some questions to my particular chatbot in my company. What is the paternity policy? Okay, what is the paternity policy? I just go and ask the chatbot like, what is the paternity policy? It cannot be a regular global question here. I cannot go to ChatGPT and ask directly what is the paternity policy. It will tell like some companies offer 6 months, some companies offer 2 months, some companies offer 1 week, some companies offer 10 days. Okay, it will give me a lot of list of things there. But if I go and ask to your company-based chatbot, HR chatbot, it may tell like, in this particular organization, the policy is to 1 week, or the policy is to 10 days, or the policy is to 3 months, or the policy is to 6 months. It will give the response in such a way because the data inside that particular thing is fine-tuned to answer a very specific question from your organization. A very specific question from your organization. Okay, so this way you can go build your chatbots. Okay, or your fine-tuned LLMs or your applications inside using agents or agentic AI concepts. Now, did you guys get some ideas about building, applications, or where do you use your applications? Yes. Did I give you some answers for, how do I implement it in a real-time scenario? Yes. No. Didn't I answer you? Guys, you guys are going mute.
No, it is
Sorry,
depend
someone seems to
on
be speaking.
the client means where the people are required.
Sorry. Okay, all right. So yeah, see, I've given you some ideas. You can automate some documents inside your chatbots here. You can give some data of your policies and everything like that to some kind of chatbot and understand what exactly is some kind of policies. You need not open documents and read through, waste a lot of time, search for a lot of documents and waste a lot of time. Instead, what you can do is you can create a chatbot where the chatbot is trained on all the policy data and you're good. Okay, I'm working in a bank and I'm actually working on a policy governance portal where I will need to do some kind of operations. I'll talk about it in a while. Okay, again, it deals with policies. It's not like HR policies. It's like banking knowledge base based policies basically. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Okay, so this way you can go and update your not just policies, anything inside it. For example, there are a couple of people from pharma background and you want to automate some of your data. Okay, you need to refer to a lot of manuals and do it. Meanwhile, you may have started using ChatGPT, but for a very closed research, you can give that particular data as your background and build your applications where you can fine tune your LLMs, deploy that particular LLM as an endpoint, and consume it for yourself. Okay, you can do all these things from your Azure AI Foundry. Okay, any questions, guys, until here, or you have any specific other requirement about it? If I'm talking too fast, let me know. I'll slow down my pitch a little. Okay, all right. I'll go to the next part of it then.
Okay.
Yes, AI/ML. What is this AI/ML? What comes into your mind when I talk about AI?
Artificial
intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, yes, definitely.
ML means machine learning.
Machine learning, wonderful. Yes. When I talk about AI, okay, what is the general definition of AI here? Yes. What is the general definition of AI? Very well known out in the market. Somebody was actually talking about the definition of AI earlier.
Yes, artificial intelligence, which is not related to the human intelligence, which is not compared to human intelligence.
Okay, I agree with that answer. But artificial intelligence is, see, in our school days, we have learned something in this particular way that you give an instruction and the system executes only that particular instruction. It cannot do anything beyond it. You say A plus B. Okay, you give an input of A and you give an input of B, and you give the instruction as A plus B. It will do only that particular instruction. It cannot do the multiplication. It cannot do subtraction or any other operation there. You give the instruction to add two numbers. It will do only those two numbers. It will not do any other operation there. Okay. Now, system should be able to do something beyond what is really asked for. Okay, that means system should have some intelligence. Okay, so your family have asked you to book some tickets, some journey tickets. Okay, I want to go from Hyderabad to Vijayawada and book me a ticket. Your family might have asked you. Now, what are the steps that you will take to do? You'll go refer to something like train tickets first. Okay, then you will go and verify your bus tickets first. Okay, and if people want to go immediately, which actually takes the same time as a train or a bus, you'll go and look for a flight ticket also. Now, there are three scenarios that you can go and book your tickets. Okay, and multiple options inside it, which train to pick up, all these things. You will apply some kind of intelligence over here, some kind of thought process over here to understand what ticket to actually book. Now, if the same thing is being handled by a machine, okay, and that particular machine is mimicking the human intelligence here, and that particular machine is trying to behave like a human. It may not have all the ability or knowledge to do things, but it is trying to behave in that particular way, then that particular system is referring an artificial intelligence system. Okay, then that such kind of machines will refer to an artificial intelligence system because they have got some ability to do beyond what you really instruct about. Okay, that has got some intelligence there to automatically do something without a specific amount of instruction because it is trained to do that. It is trained to do that. Now, somebody coming and asking me, do this chemistry experiment. Will I be able to do it? The answer is no, because I'm not trained on it. I'm not trained on it, but I can read the manuals and understand and then try to perform something. My experiment may not be successful or may be successful, but by reading some manuals, I understand that particular manuals and do it. Now, the system again does the same thing now. It tries to understand some manuals, understand it, reads the manuals, understand it, and then perform some kind of task again. So it is trying to mimic a human intelligence here. It is trying to mimic a human intelligence, which is your artificial intelligence. Okay. So, and there is something here, there is something called iteratively improve. If you observe, there is something called as iteratively improve. What is this iteratively improve? And can iteratively improve themselves based on some information they collect. What is this word called iteratively improve?
Continuous,
so yes,
continuous learning.
Yes, continuous learning. Okay, and there is a scenario where you can teach your machines to improve their performance on time to time, and that particular way of doing that models or machine learning models is called as, anybody who knows that word? Reinforcement machine learning. Okay, reinforcement. Okay, so there is the concept of penalties and some gifts or something. So where you will penalize the model, and that when it is penalized, it actually goes and relearns things, and reward and penalize. Basically, you go and give a reward. So the it understands that, okay, whatever I've done is correct, so I got a reward, and whatever I've done is actually wrong, the feedback is wrong, so I've done some mistakes, so I should go and course correct myself. So that's called as a reinforcement learning. Okay, so that's a concept. So that's a concept where you have iteratively improve themselves basically. Okay, and you can train a model, retrain the model on some more batch of data so that it learns. Okay, there are approaches there in normal machine learning and deep learning also. Okay, so these can be the two scenarios for iteratively improve here. Okay, so this way you can teach a machine how to actually learn. Okay, or basically an AI system. Now, how do you teach this particular machines to take actions? How do you make the machines to teach actions, actually take actions? Yes.
By giving the instructions, what we need.
How do you derive those instructions? Okay.
By using tools?
Yeah, please.
By using tools.
What tools?
See, generally, it's kind of a we can talk it in a programming format like methods. So in the methods, whatever the action you want to, so you can give all the instructions and corresponding prompt. So with the help of LLM API, it will understanding, the user given instruction, and it will trigger the corresponding tool.
Okay. Yeah, good answer actually. Something beyond what I have expected, but it's actually a really good answer. Okay. I'm not going to LLMs in that particular portion, just for an context here. So, how do you make this machines teach? Okay, I'm trying to talk from a very root perspective here. Okay, very root perspective here. See, these machines, you give an instruction, it actually acts. When you give some instruction, it will act on that particular instruction. It really doesn't know beyond those instructions. But you will give some data to those machines. For example, how many of you hold credit cards? Anybody who owns a credit card in this particular whole people meeting in the session? No? Okay, all right, that's fine.
Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah. So when you apply for a credit card, they'll check your something called a CIBIL score,
Yes.
your credit score, right? So,
Yes.
and they'll come to a conclusion that you will be performing good and you will repay your debt back. And if at all they deny you, it's the same reason. They'll come to a conclusion that you may not be able to repay this particular debt. Okay, it can be credit card or a loan basically. Credit card is also a debt actually. So how do they come to this particular conclusion? How do they come across this particular conclusion? For example, if I don't have a loan existing already and I have not taken a single rupee of debt from the banks, I'm not talking outside like from friends and all, okay, from the banks where the data is registered. Okay, now if I go and apply for a 1 crore of home loan, will they give me a loan immediately? It's most unlikely, right? It's most unlikely that they give me a loan, or even if they give the loan, they'll give me the loan at a very higher rate of interest. Why? Why is that happening? How do they come to this particular conclusion? The answer is simple. The answer is simple. They actually take or collect the information from all the users you holding a PAN card in India. I'm talking about an Indian scenario, and the world also acts in the same way. Okay, we have a PAN card, and all our transactions are being registered against that particular PAN card. You take a debt, you pay a debt, you pay your credit card bill, everything is registered against that particular PAN card. Now, what happens is your trending pattern or your spending pattern, not trending, sorry, your spending pattern and your repayment patterns are calculated here. And every bank is actually looking at the same PAN card number. So, everybody who reports your spending and payment patterns, repayment patterns to the TransUnion, CIBIL score, CIBIL team will be using the same PAN card number to report it. Now, once this particular data gets reported, now this TransUnion CIBIL, what they'll do is they have an application or they define an application using this data to understand, okay, these people with this particular spending pattern fail to repay, and these people with this particular spending pattern passed or they have repaid their loan or a debt in a specific amount of time. So now all your data is listed, and they'll create one particular value, some value which is between 300 to 900, and that is your score now. That is your CIBIL score, and the banks look at that particular CIBIL score to actually give you a loan or deny a loan, basically, or give you a credit card or deny a credit card. Now, what happens here is this score is generated by using a machine learning algorithm, which is a pattern of the previous information, there. Okay, that is an outcome of your previous data, and the machine is trained on the previous data to observe a pattern. Now you need to go and create a positive pattern instead of a negative pattern to get your credit card or a loan approved. If you create a negative pattern, you have least amount of chances that you likely get a loan or a credit card. Now, this machines, how do we teach these machines to take actions is with respect to this. A pattern that is identified with respect to your spendings and repayment methodologies. Okay, you need to observe that particular pattern. So, this machines, you should teach the machines the pattern there. And that is all dealt in your machine learning or an artificial intelligence models. It is all dealt within your machine learning and artificial intelligence models. Okay, and we have different amount of techniques to do it. And why do we need to learn about these things? Because you will need to understand what is a model here. Okay, you will need to understand what is a model. How many of you have used coordinate geometry in your school days? How many of you use coordinate geometry? Nobody. Coordinate geometry, the name itself you forgot. Pere marchipayarandi, coordinate geometry. Graphs గీసేవారు ఎవరన్నా?
Yeah,
Did you draw graphs in your school?
Yeah, we use
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That
we
is
have
coordinate
used it.
geometry. Yes, that is coordinate geometry. Okay, remember that word. Very important. So you are given with two equations: y is equals to mx plus c and y is equals to mx plus c. Two kinds of equations, and they give you one data point, or they may tell you like both this. Sorry, I'm sorry, that's a wrong example. So they give you 1 point, and they give you 2 points and ask you to draw a line using those 2 points and calculate the slope and intercept and all these things. Or else they give you a line and a point and ask you to draw it on the graph, something like this, right? So that line is your pattern of that y is equals to mx plus c is an equation of the pattern of, and that y is equals to mx plus c in the machine learning context, it is called the model. That y is equals to mx plus c in machine learning context is called your model. And you will not have a single point or 2 points to draw a line in the machine learning. You will have thousands of data points. Now, using that thousands of data points, using 2 data points, you have actually identified the pattern as a line and you have drawn that. Okay, and you go step up, like in your +1, +2, you might have drawn some sine graphs, cosine graphs, hyperbolas, ellipses, and all these things using your coordinate geometry, right? So the same way, you step up right now to create a straight line or a curve or an exponential graph. Okay, basing on your different patterns now, and this particular graph that you draw is your model. And the size of the model is not simply like a single y is equals to mx plus c statement, but the size of the model can be an MB, 10 MB, 20 MB also, because it has got a lot of parameters inside. Okay, you may have learned an LLM having 5 billion parameters, 10 billion parameters and all, and someone is talking about a trillion parameters in the future. Did you ever hear about this particular billion parameters? It's like y is equals to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus x1 x2 x3 and so on. These are the parameters. Now you have billion points that way. Billion, x1, x2, x3 and so on, x billion. So this many parameters are kept as an input. To store that, you will need to have a large file, that is your LLM here. That is your LLM. So starting from machine learning model, the models are created in the same way, where you have a lot of patterns in the real world and you try to derive a pattern to solve a specific purpose. That is how you teach your machine. Okay, the pattern is something that you teach your machine. Now you're coming from a smaller pattern to a pattern that understands the whole real world, which is your ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or whatever LLM that you find in the market. These LLMs are trained on all the real world data. These LLMs are trained on all the real world LLM data. Okay, worldly available data to create to give you some kind of answer. You go and ask ChatGPT like, what is the date today? It may answer you wrong because it is not updated to the real-time data there. They are not updating, continuously feeding, because it's a very costly affair. Okay, so that way your models are, and that is how you teach the model. Did you get an idea on this model perspective and how do you teach your machines? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. If you have questions, you can interrupt and ask me. I'm going to the next part. What is machine learning? I'm going in depth into like level 0 thing here. You have a pattern and your application or your model is learning. You train the model on a pattern, for example. But how will it understand internally? How will it understand internally?
0-1, like coding 0-1, like it's going in this one.
Absolutely wonderful. It is by using your art of numbers, which are zeros and ones. This may be also a very basic lesson that you have learned in your school. Okay, that a computer understands only 2 things, which is 0 and 1, and you may have converted your number into binary number. Okay, you give some number like 10 or 9, your teacher may have asked you to convert that particular 10, which is of base 10 decimal, to base 2 value, which is a binary. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, the same way the machine also converts. The machine also converts the same way. Machine converts all your data into zeros and ones. Okay, and it runs these numbers, these patterns using zeros and ones internally. Okay, you have a DLL file created, you have an ML model created. Whatever is inside these particular models is nothing but your 0 and 1 only. And this is the only thing that a machine can understand. 0 and 1 is the only thing that a machine can understand. Okay, for example, you give some statement to an LLM. Okay, ChatGPT, you go and ask like, I'm having a headache. What can be the reason? You give this particular statement. Okay, it can respond like you have brain tumor or something else. That's a different story. But how will this understand that particular statement? Okay, so to understand that particular statement, I'm going beyond the slide basically. I'm talking something beyond the slide. So what will be done in this particular case is there will be an NLP engine acting before. Okay, this NLP engine, what will it do is it removes some words, and these words are called as stop words. Your statement is like, I have a headache. What is the possible what is the possible scenario? I have a headache. I is a stop word, it will be removed because it doesn't give any kind of context there regarding the real problem. I is here, I am representing here. So it doesn't really have a context here, it will be removed. Have. Okay, it may stay back. Have. A. A is again a stop word. That means it doesn't really have a context. It will be removed. And the set of stop words are already defined, don't worry. Okay, so have a headache. Headache is a word, it will retain. What will be retained? R is a stop word, again it will be removed. So that way it keeps on removing data and then it converts it into something called as embedding. Embedding is the distance from one point to the other basically. You want to go to Hyderabad, from here to Vijayawada, you will have some distance. Okay, you take Hyderabad as 0 and Vijayawada maybe like some 350 kilometers. Okay, you want to go to Rajahmundry, for example. From here, it is something like some 500 kilometers. Okay, now from Hyderabad to Vijayawada is 350, and from Hyderabad to Rajahmundry is 600. What are closer? Rajahmundry and Vijayawada may be closer if they are on the same direction. Or from here to Kurnool, again it is like around 350 kilometers. From Hyderabad to Kurnool, it's like 350 kilometers. Okay, now what are closer? Is Hyderabad really, is Vijayawada and Kurnool nearby? Maybe, may not be. Now, to understand whether they are near or not, it is done by something called as a vector. Okay, the direction of the vector towards east, towards west, towards southeast, this direction of the vector. They are equidistant from a point, but they are having a different direction, which again will change. Okay, now this data that you actually go will convert into vectors. Vector is the distance from one point to the other in a very specific direction here. And this vector is actually the numerical value, and this numerical value is stored as an embedding into your system. Don't worry if you don't understand it. It's a very, very high level thing which we'll go and discuss in detail. Okay, which we will go and discuss in detail. So this embedding is that particular value. Okay, so when it will reach and understand the embedding. Embeddings, you talk about a cat, you talk about puppy. You talk about a cat and you talk about a puppy. Okay. Or I'll talk about a dog and I'll talk about a puppy. I will tell like, I have a dog and I have named it Puppy. And my puppy is gone somewhere. I couldn't find my puppy after I've gone home. I made the statement. Now, this puppy will be referred to an object or an animal called as dog here. Dog is like a common word, but puppy is a specific name maybe. Now, this puppy will be referred to a specific breed of an animal called as a dog. And this is being dealt inside the LLM by using this particular embeddings. I lost my puppy, or I didn't find my puppy, or my puppy came back and jumped on me. So this puppy is treated as a dog here. It will be converted. The context will be converted to dog and then understood by the LLM. This is how it happens inside. First, the removal of stop words. Then the puppy will be considered as a dog here. And then after considering it as a dog, and it will be done in a numerical format. There is no number right now. After the embeddings got created, it will be only numbers. And these numbers will be optimized to speak to the processor using zeros and ones here. That is how it happens. It actually has a lot of layers to actually go through. And you are getting data in a Swift very fast because they are completely optimized and hardware is also supporting that. Okay. So this whole art of converting your data, your character-based data, okay, which is being written in English and then converted to your embeddings followed by zeros and ones in the machine learning is that particular, it's basically a science of making a machine understand basically. Okay, it's a science of making the machine understand. Okay, so wherever it is, we try to find these patterns in zeros and ones. However we go, we try to find this pattern of zeros and ones. Okay, we don't do it manually, don't worry. We don't do it manually. We have a lot of algorithms for that, and we do it automatically in that using that. Okay, so this is how your machine learning is. You may not have understood a lot of stuff, but that is like an outline, very much outline about it. Okay, you have data, you convert the data into an embedding here in an LLM, or you convert the data into relevant amount of data for a specific model here, and then push the data into the processor to do the calculations in the format of zeros and ones. And you pick up zeros and ones only again. You understand the pattern of zeros and ones, and you pick up the zeros and ones, and your algorithm will convert back that into a normal human readable format. And that is a part of an LLM again, large language model. Okay, LLM stands for large language model because it has got a lot of data inside it, because it is being trained using billion amount of parameters now. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Okay. All right. So, what will you learn in this particular course? I've given you a lot of overviews on what is happening around data, a normal machine learning, LLM, and all these things, and what will be covered in this course. I will start with something like setup tools, like maybe a day or so. I'll spend my time using the setup tools and all. You will need to install Python on your systems. You will need to install Anaconda for some days, VS Code. Anaconda is to give you an good amount of basics on your artificial intelligence and machine learning stuff basically. So we'll talk about Python foundations meanwhile. First we'll start with the Python foundations once the setup is done. Okay. So we will look at like what is a Python programming and what are the concepts inside your Python programming. And we will understand different design patterns inside Python programming. It can go for a week actually, 1 week of Python programming. We will deal with some databases if required. And yeah, a lot of Python stuff here. Okay, how do you do applications, creating a fast API? All these things we'll cover here. And then we will go with artificial intelligence and machine learning foundation-based things. So why is this required? So whenever you are given with a problem, you will need to understand what kind of technique to be used. For everything, LLM is not the solution. Okay, you will need to understand what is the ML technique that is to be used in cost optimized manner also for your organization. So we will go with some artificial intelligence and machine learning applications. So I'll talk about basics of ML here, machine learning, which is like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, different algorithms like linear regression, logistic regression, how are they built? Okay, we'll go in deep. And from there, I'll go with artificial intelligence applications as well, which talks about 1 week in machine learning and 1 week in deep learning, basically. Artificial intelligence for me refers to deep learning, basically. So in that deep learning, how do you for say like how do you read images? Okay, how do you read images? And how do you read text? Okay, images using TensorFlow, text using PyTorch, followed by some cool applications where you can do your face recognition and all. Okay, you want to do an attendance based system and you want to do a face recognition based attendance system, then you will be able to do it. Okay, in Amazon or Netflix, you find something like an X-ray. Like what are the characters in that particular scene will be listed down on something called as an X-ray. If you haven't looked at it, just go look at it. Okay, so how do you build this kind of X-ray kind of tool? I'll give you an idea about how do you build this particular tool. And I have worked on this particular X-ray application earlier actually for some client for me. Okay, so how do you build this particular application? We have got very great amount of techniques right now. With 5 lines of code, you can build that particular X-ray kind of application. Okay, if you go watch a movie right now, Friday, there will be a lot of good releases as well. So go watch and check this X-ray once. You'll understand it. Okay, so we'll see how do you make it. Okay, we'll spend 2 weeks of time in artificial intelligence and machine learning applications, one each. And next we will start with our generative AI based applications. We will try to interact with a LLM here and we'll try to interact with an LLM and try to generate some data. Okay, like how a ChatGPT is working. We'll try to create an application similar to ChatGPT. Okay, similar to ChatGPT, and I'll also give you an idea about what is Azure AI Foundry as well. Okay, we'll see what is an Azure AI Foundry. Then we will go and talk about fine-tuning and optimizing that particular model to give you better results and make sure the data is not hallucinated. Okay, data is not hallucinated and like it means that it will not think on itself and deviate beyond its abilities or deviate beyond the question that is being asked. Hallucination is something like thinking beyond, overthinking. It's like an overthinking stuff. We will see how does that work inside Azure AI Foundry. And from there, we will talk about agentic AI, where we deal with creating agents. Okay, we will talk about MCP servers. We will talk about the SDKs of LangChain, LangGraph, Google ADK. And then we will go create a multi-agent agent-to-agent communication. We'll talk about something like an agent-to-agent communication and how agents are invoked. What is the input of an agent here? What is the data input of an agent? And all these things. Then we will go with MLOps. Okay, machine learning deployment. How do you deploy machine learning, which is an optional stuff again. So this is what all are covered in this particular course. If you have any questions, you can probably ask me now on this. After this, I'll go to Azure AI Foundry portal and I'll show you something.
Yeah. Hi, Trilok.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I joined a little late. So, yeah, the curriculum, right? I have small, question regarding the curriculum. Okay. Actually, this course is, is targeted for kind of front-end developers or something. But because I'm more of a data engineer, I would like to learn something related, that agentic AI in the data pipelines and all those things. Will this help me to, get into this, or is it for a programmer's perspective? This course.
See, this is 90% a programmer thing itself. It's not really based on a front end. Okay. See, I'll talk about vibe coding and all. Not really generating applications. Not really. It's mostly a backend concentrated program where all your data engineering also comes into picture basically. Okay. So yeah, it's mostly a backend programming itself.
Okay. Data engineer. I'm a data engineer.
There will be an overlap for you. A small amount of overlap here. Okay. Because it deals mostly with the agentic AI kind of concepts here. Okay. The main agenda for the whole course is agentic AI, and rest of things what I talk about is like artificial intelligence and machine learning will have a little overlap on your data. How do you model your data and all, which you may be already using in your regular course day-to-day work, but it will be concentrating a little over there. And from there, we'll talk about creating agents and all. So with that, when you deal with your data, you can create agents to, deal with your data or transform your data. Data transformations you can do. You can get the insights about your data directly from using an agent. You can create a data lineage system, like how the data flows from one endpoint to other and how is the data being converted from one endpoint to other using an LLM or an agentic based solution here. Okay, so that way.
Sure. Thanks for.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Yes, Priya.
Yes, Nagesh.
Regarding the fine-tuning optimization, okay, are you going to take any small model and can you do the optimization on that?
Yes, we are doing that in the course. That's the agenda of the course, right? See,
Hmm.
all this fine-tuning, I've mentioned it here as well. The fine-tuning will happen from there.
Okay, the data collection and all everything you are going to show, right?
Data collection, I'll give you the idea about how do you collect the data.
Okay.
See, data collection is very specific to a problem.
Okay.
Okay, for HR policies, I can't get a bank document and show, right? The same way, you will need to get your data on the relevant problem that you're trying to solve. Okay, so think in that particular way. I'll let you know how do you collect your data. Maybe like a half an hour, I'll talk about it. Okay.
Okay.
Not really like a whole course going to do a data collection part. It completely depends on how your this is looking like how your requirement is looking basically.
Okay. MLOps. What about the MLOps?
MLOps is an optional thing. I'll talk about MLOps while defining the applications itself, while designing or writing your applications itself. I'll talk about it. I'll not really talk about DevOps or perspective of DevOps and all, but I'll give you an idea of when do you need to think about MLOps and how do you need to think about MLOps and all.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And in Python, are you going to cover this PyTorch and TensorFlow something?
Yes. In Python, I'll go and cover.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Any other questions?
Hi, Trilok.
Yeah. Hi.
Like, how can I use my RPA knowledge and the integration of whatever I did with this agentic AI?
Yeah, very good question. So in our organization also, I'm into an RPA based team itself right now. Okay, our team. I mean, not specifically me. I'm very bad at RPA kind of stuff or using UiPath and all. But I have created an RPA based solution earlier. Like I was a part of a project where we created a competitor for UiPath. It's a BPM, business process management tool, where it's a combination of RPA and business management there. Okay, so this is you can integrate it basically in automation anywhere. You can write a custom script, you can write a custom code there, or in UiPath you can create an agent. Okay, using Maestro or without using Maestro also you can create agents, and these particular things can be linked up into your workflow. So your agents will be picked up using an orchestration layer. You can pick up an agent and you can run your processes. So you'll get a good amount of idea on how do you write your agents here. Okay.
Okay.
So if you go practice a little, you'll be an expert definitely. Okay. So that way you'll understand about what is an agent and how do you create an agent using different kinds of SDKs here, LangChain, LangGraph, and Google ADK. Okay. So with these things, we'll try to look at like how do we create agents and then consume it. Maybe you should go research about how do you consume these agents into your UiPath and Mastro or your automation anywhere or things like that basically.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Trilok, you will be covering MCP part as well?
Yes, I have listed here. I did not speak about it maybe, but yes, I'll be covering about MCP layers as well.
How about context engineering and the prompt engineering part?
Those will be covered as a part of your fine tuning.
Okay.
Context engineering. There is a concept called as LRM, large reasoning models.
And RAGAS?
RAG is also on fine tuning and optimization itself.
No, I'm saying about RAGAS framework.
RAGAS framework, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be using this LangChain, LangGraph and all. And we can deal with some kind of agentic solutions on Azure AI Foundry or Any 10 kind of concepts we can actually cover.
And how about monitoring, the token optimization and all those things, like monitoring?
Token optimization and monitoring. For this, you'll need to create logs, proper logs, and all these things, which is a part of your Azure AI Foundry itself at this point of time. I'll show you how do you consume it actually.
Okay.
Okay. In Azure AI Foundry, you have the concept of this observability kind of platforms, analytics and all, log analytics and all. You can probably refer to that. I'll also explain about how do you deal with it.
How about governance part? Would you be covering governance?
Yeah, governance part also will be covering. And there is this concept called as guardrails as well. These are like basic concepts since you are inside your generative AI itself. So they'll be covered here.
Okay.
Yes, very great questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Cool. I'll be showing up your Azure portal here. So this is the Microsoft Foundry or the Azure AI Foundry. They've converted this. Is it visible? Yeah. See, you have models here.
It is not visible, Trilok.
Should I stop sharing and reshare it?
Yes, please.
You should see a... Yeah.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, see. Models... One second. Sorry. See here. You have different models. This is on completely Azure AI based things. So just one second. See here, you have a playground here where you can do different kinds of stuff here. And you have a model catalog where this model catalog has got different models here. Okay. And see GPT 5.5 is provided. If you are spending enough amount of money on Azure, you can use it. Okay. It is not available for me. I can go with something, a smaller model, GPT 5 Nano. So this is also not available. I'll try to create a resource with where this is available. Okay, so we'll create one of these models over here, or I mean, consume one of these models over here for in all our coursework basically. Okay, so we'll use something like Image2, for example. So it is giving you a, information about where this model can be used. Okay, see, managed by Microsoft. This is the governance statements that he has given, and capabilities. OpenAI's latest cutting, whatever it is, includes capabilities of GPT-1, GPT-image, text-to-image generation, image-to-image generation, and in painting. These are the core capabilities of this particular model. Okay, so face preservation is something that it can do. So this way, basically, while you're trying to pick a model, you should come over here and understand what kind of model you're supposed to pick for you to create an effective solution or a good amount of solution. Okay, this is what you're supposed to read when you're trying to pick. And once this is done, you can actually, I may not be able to create it. Okay, customize the model with these things, rate limits, temperatures, and all these. There are a couple of things not listed here. After I deploy, I'll get that. So using those settings, I should be able to customize the way the model answers my questions. Okay, I will be able to customize it that way. The model answers my questions. So there are a lot of things here. Guardrails are present. Everything is present over here, and we will deal this with respect to a programming view, not completely from a UI perspective. Okay, we'll see how do we set up guardrails under in a programmatical view. Okay, we'll see how do we create a lang graph or a lang chain kind of chaining based thing where you set up your guardrails, everything, and how do you invoke the agents. We'll see how do you create create agents using Google ADK, which has got a sequential agents, parallel agents, a lot of things inside it. We will see all of them with a proper code. So that way we will, deal with this whole course. Any more questions here?
So with respect to RAG, I have a question. Like we already embedded some documents, and there is new version of it. Like you would be covering that part, right?
Yes, that is the most important part. I told you, right? See, ChatGPT cannot update itself for the real-time data that is happening. It takes some time, and that time is like you can take it as an SLA. And this particular time is important for us to fine tune the model again on our data. Okay, you cannot, for example, somebody registered into my application. If I'm able to run my chatbot on the latest updated registration also, I'm really good. Okay, but if I'm not able to do it, okay, if I'm able to do it, I'm spending a lot of money there in that particular fine tuning because my model will be continuously learning, which will consume a lot of GPUs in the background, and the question to answer also consumes a lot of GPUs there. Okay, the performance, okay, the GPU usage and all will be a lot higher. If I'm able to do it, I am on a different level of funding and all. Okay, but it should be a timed manner. Okay, fine tuning should be done on a timed manner, and we should not delete the whole other vector DB and create a new vector DB or embeddings altogether. We should do it only for the updated information, and for this also involves in the chunking. What do we say, like
chunking strategy,
chunking strategies and chunking and retrieval strategies over there. So we need to look about all these stuff as well.
Hybrid search and all those things, right?
Yes. Okay. So all these things are there for us to actually discuss in that concepts. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. So any other questions? Oh, it's okay. I take it as no questions. If any questions, you can probably reach out to me. You can connect with the team at the AimNxt and probably reach out to me if you have more questions. And rest of things will be communicated with the team. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much and have a nice day. It's really great talking to you guys. I feel more energized after your interaction and the questions that you have. Yeah. Looking forward for the sessions. Thank you so much.